Are alive. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to Gem of Crypto, episode 1212. Today is Monday, April 15, 2024, and I'm King.
And I'm Bitcoin Zay, here to bridge the gap between cryptocurrency and the community, Monday through Friday at 10ish.
Today's top stories: Bitcoin nosedives as political tensions escalate in the Middle East. Hong Kong approves first Bitcoin and Ether ETFs. Winklevoss twins become co-owners of Bitcoin Soccer Club and inject $4.5 million worth of Bitcoin. And Samsung secures $6.4 billion grant to expand Texas chip manufacturing is being reported. But first and foremost, what is going on with those prices?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we had a Bitcoin nosedive, which we'll discuss later. A bit of a bounce for some people. And I think Bitcoin got as low as 62,000 over the weekend. And right now it's at $65,949, up 2.8%. Ethereum at $3,204, up 6% on the day. Binance Coin at 571.72 is up 4% on the day. Solana at 150 is up 9.3%. XRP at 50 cent is up 4.8%. Toncoin moving up the ranks to 692 is up 9.6%. Dogecoin at 16 cent is up 6.2%. And rounding out the top 10 is Cardano at 48 cent, up 5.7%. So good bounce after we saw almost all the markets crash on Friday. And if you look at the fear and greed index, it's been slowly moving back almost towards the neutral area. Still in greed a bit, but like I said, by the time the halving comes, most people are going to be sitting on their hands, not doing much. So that's pretty much what neutral is. Everybody's neutral. Nobody's taking any chances going all in yet.
All right. Really quick shout outs. What is going on in the chat? See is lit right now. BK Crypto, Lord Smith, Alapio, Marcellus, Wisdom Bars, Crypt Work, Hyben 17, Infinite Blink for sure. Mr. Right, JB, Satoshi Slim, Holloway Fam Bam. What's going on? Hyben 17 said, I'm doing my best to get all my friends out of XRP. It's going to slide out of the top 10. Ooh, man, listen.
Hey, man.
Slowly but steadily, that top 10 always changes, is always being updated. And yeah, Toncoin entering it just showed us that came out of left field. I mean, Dogecoin went to what 8 or whatever. Like, you take out the stable, we gotta do it without the stable coins too. Like, you think about that, and it's like another 3 or 4 spots open up. So, yeah, top 10 is always pretty interesting to see. All right, Bitcoin nosedives as political tensions escalate in the Middle East. What is going on in other parts of the world that everyone's getting, I guess, roped into?
Oh yeah. So, Bitcoin is regarded globally as a risk-on asset. So it's not a risk-off asset to most people yet. So just like any other assets and some of the stocks we saw, they all nosedive as political tensions escalate in the Middle East. If you were not aware, this weekend there was an attack following. It fell sharply following Iran's attack on Israel, and Bitcoin price plummeted over 8.4% on Friday after Iran launched an attack. The price went from $67,000 to $61,625, wiping out $130 million in market cap within minutes following news of the attack. And some people, they can post the charts, a zoom in of it nosediving, but at the same time, this was a drop for babies. Like, come on, man. 8%, what is that? Like, we've seen 20, 40, 50% in one day. 8% is a yawn for most Bitcoiners. But if you don't know, Iran launched drones against Israel on Saturday. The action is a retaliation for an attack conducted by Israel, which targeted a diplomatic compound in Damascus, Syria, killing 7 Iranians, including 2 generals. So they got their lick back, basically. And if you don't know, Bitcoin is ultimately tied to geopolitics at this point. You can't separate the two, which is why we discuss both. And the conflict between Iran and Israel is significantly escalates tensions in the region, something the U.S. has been reportedly trying to prevent since October 7th, 2023. And me and King were just talking. I told him, I said, when they look back in the history books, they're going to say World War III started on October 7th, 2023. And if you are not aware, I've tweeted about this on Twitter. I have a couple friends who were former intelligence, and they told me this was coming a long time ago. I tweeted this back in October. It was like, yep, Israel attacks Palestine. Stuff in the Middle East gets shaky. Iran attacks them. We then deploy troops, which we did. I think we deployed 3,000 troops to help with this. with this war right now, and then that's when Russia gets involved, and then hey, there you go, that's World War III, baby. And this is not something that is surprising to me, maybe surprising to others, but in regards to Bitcoin, this is why I think we won't see like 100K, 200K, like some people are saying this year in particular, simply because there's too much uncertainty in the market right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I still think again next summer, end of October of next year, I think we can reach 150. We can get 140, 150. That's my thoughts.
Hmm.
But yeah, a couple of good things. First, PFC Wells Trek said I saw one article say that 5% was a heavy drop in Bitcoin. I was dumbfounded at the writer of the article. I'm like, that's what they're trying to turn this into. They're trying to turn it into that traditional market where 2 to 4% is headlines, but it's like literally, are we going to run the same headline story every other day? I mean, granted, Cointelegraph does do it. They go, Bitcoin's going up, Bitcoin's going down, Bitcoin's going sideways 3 times a day, really. So, I mean, I could see it happening, but I guess I don't know. That just kind of gets boring to me. And then Hyben said, yes, fundamental analysis is important. This is what I'm always saying. All the TA in the world couldn't prep you for the weekend and this drop happening. Like, so
Hmm.
for the people who come out today, like, oh yeah, did you see what I did Sunday night with the charter? I'm like, come on, man. Like that's what
Yeah.
you knew about the drones being thrown out there. Like, come on now. Like,
Yeah.
stop it. We weren't gonna dive the way we just did the nosedive. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, like you said, it's tied to geopolitics now. And I mean, just even outside of geopolitics, it's just tied to humans, right? People are using it.
True.
Whether it's a military using it, a billionaire, whatever, a socialite, like people are using it. So if people have bad days, the market is going to take a hit when they need to access those capital funds, that liquidity, in some different projects or in Bitcoin itself.
Hmm.
But speaking of which, other options for Bitcoin, Hong Kong approves first Bitcoin and Ether ETFs, Ether as well. I guess we saw a small bump. This could be attributed to the bump back, especially with Ethereum. But Hong Kong securities regulator reportedly approved the in-kind creation model for Bitcoin and Ether ETFs instead of the cash create model in the United States. Ooh, this is the type of stuff that gets
Hmm.
you a heart attack, people. Okay. This is like literally the type of stuff to get you a heart attack. Hong Kong has become the latest country to approve spot exchange traded funds, ETF for Bitcoin and Ether, with local regulators issuing approvals to at least 3 local issuers. The Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission, SFC, conditionally approved its first spot Bitcoin and Ether ETFs on April 15th, Reuters reported. At least 3 offshore Chinese asset managers, including Hong Kong units of Harvest Fund Management, Basera Asset Management, and China Asset Management, China AMC, will launch their spot Bitcoin and Ether ETF soon. I mean, hey, hand clap for them. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh yeah. So our favorite communist country is finally coming around to ETFs. And one key to look at with this is if you look at the beginning, when the description, it basically was saying that they've approved in kind creation model for Bitcoin instead of the cash create model in the United States. So for ETFs, cash create model is cash in, and it shows you, you know, how much Bitcoin you purchase, and then it's cash out. So there is no actual Bitcoin that is being moved. However, in kind creation means that the actual Bitcoin and actual Ether and the ETFs are able to be moved. So that means that they have a shit ton of Bitcoin and Ethereum, which that should be no surprise because, you know, if you look at from 2017 when they were banning it, I think they banned it at least 10 to 15 times. They were basically dropping the price and accumulating, dropping the price, accumulating. And at this point, again, geopolitics, China, Russia, and the US, they cannot operate without having Bitcoin on their markets. And I think that overall, this is good for, you know, the price of Bitcoin long term, but this could also signal that China could dump. You know what I mean? Like they could technically say, hey, yeah, we're going to start our ETF, but we're going to have some of the richest people open up shorts. And we're going to be able to push Bitcoin's price to where we want so we can buy more Bitcoin. I'm sure this crash that happened this weekend, they probably were accumulating all over the place. So, you know, for those people who are familiar with how China operates, they don't have the fake freedom that we have. Ours is kind of ours is kind of like, oh yeah, you're free, except for you got to go through this regulation and you got to go through this accreditation and you got to have these papers. So it's not real freedom. But they'll straight up tell you, they're like, no, we own it and we control it and it's our money. And what you gonna do about it? Nothing. They'll have you working in sweatshops for the rest of your life if you say something, or you'll be hidden in a closet like Jack Ma or Drake's Ghost Riders in the dungeon somewhere. So I think this is definitely a sign that they may actually push the price down because it is interesting. It happened at a time where they're blaming Middle East for this drop because of assets, but it's perfect timing for them to actually drop the price because it's nothing better for a whale to have a reason to do what they're already doing. So they're like, hey, if everybody's focused on the Middle East, we can go ahead and help drop the price with shorts and put fear into the market, so to say, so that we can accumulate at lower prices. Maybe in that I've seen people say as low as 50K, 45K range, which is much better than 65, 70. For especially if you're spending billions of dollars, that's a lot more Bitcoin.
So I want to make it clear that we are still open to Chinese partnership here on this channel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have
Zay
no problem with
started.
it. Gang. They gang. They just more upfront with it. They just
Okay, all right.
we
No,
like the mob.
that's
They like the
fair.
street gangs. Yeah, they like, nah, we in your face. We right next door.
We said we want all of it. No, a few good comments I was seeing come through, and I agree with you. But a couple things on. I agree with a lot of what you said on this. The strength of this all being just different powers and things that play, whether it's upfront, behind the back end things happening, the government, developers, competitors, just everything at play. This is why I've started to shift away from looking at, or at least waiting on the day of Bitcoin hitting the $1 million Bitcoin, and more or less appreciating the growth in the market itself, right? The different jobs that are created, the different businesses and projects that open in ways that can help in the value of the technology. Because it's like, if we just get caught up in the price, it's like, man, this is a dirty game. We've seen it. It's happening. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the last 7 or 8 years, like it's been a crazy, just seeing how these things happen and develop. So to know more of that is in store, woo, it's like, listen, pick some favorites. All right. Of course, have your Bitcoin and sit back and live your life and make sure you're worried about something else, because this is crazy. Speaking of which, MO said, do you think investing in stock technology is a good move? It's funny you said that. We were actually talking about something like that before the show. We were talking about chips and things of that sort. So some of that definitely is a good move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you can't go wrong with mining stocks, like mining companies that went public. Clean Spark, Riot, Hut 8. There's a few other ones, but mining stocks, they're going to pump regardless. So yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Yep. Let's see. PFC Will said the chatter's already starting at the National Guard level about the Iran action. They said Power of Nine said those were not drones, they were just birds. Satoshi Slim said, where would you suggest take out a loan against the Bitcoin? Who would you trust these days? I will have to review because I haven't done it recently. Do you have anybody on top of your head?
Yeah, Unchained.com is good. They have multi-sig, so you control two of the keys. And Lend, LEDN. So kind of like hold is HODL. Lend, LEDN. So Lend and Unchained.com are two good ones.
Ivan said, I threw in the cape quick. Like, hold on. Yeah, listen, we got to keep the lights on around here on this channel. All right. Come on, China, Wina, Huna, Fina. I don't care. Come through them with them Bitcoins. All right.
China. We are
That's what
friends with
somebody said.
China.
Yeah. No, you remember I was in the military. I got a ton of Chinese friends and stuff. So shout out to them. Let's see. Who else we got out here? Y'all crazy. Let's see. 5252 Crypto's going on. Said, got you in the game. I'm contracting with a mining company since Zay's B-Day in Texas. Now respect, fam. Mr. Wright said, mining agreed. I got some right before BlackRock bought into Bitcoin. Oh, nice. Beautiful thing. That's what's up. Okay, good stuff. All right. What else do we have going on? Somebody said he on that tie stick. Winklevoss twins become co-owners of Bitcoin Soccer Club and inject $4.5 million of Bitcoin. What's going on here with the Winklevoss twins? Shout out to them.
Oh yeah, so Winklevoss twins in the news again. It's crazy that they're always in the news together. Like you can't separate them. Like
But they
it's not
are
like
aren't
they.
they are they which color twins? Are they
I guess
like
identical. Yeah, they got to be.
yeah
I
that
mean,
oh yeah, because those are type that's like they it's hard for to separate.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, they look exactly the same. We met a couple of times, and just on another note, I will say they do throw a really good party, so I'll give it to them there.
Shout out to them. They do.
Yeah, me and King were at there, and I was at that party the year before that. Um, uh, Outside the bathroom with waiting on the bathroom with Macy Gray. So shout out to the Winklevoss twins. Got to meet Macy Gray, Steve Stout, DJ Khaled. They throw a good party. But with that in mind, they now also are owners of a Bitcoin soccer club. They're on board with Bitcoin podcaster Peter McCormick, who's famous for using a lot of his Bitcoin proceeds from, I think, 2018, 2019 to invest in Real Bedford, or to take Real Bedford to the English Premier League. So Real Bedford is Peter McCormick's team. So pretty sure they basically linked up and was like, hey, man, this is a good opportunity. And we can basically put some of our own branding and make it like a Bitcoin type deal. So shout out to Winklevoss twins. The story isn't loading for me right now, but the 4.5 in the Real Bedford is the largest investment made into a football club in the UK outside of professional leagues. They say we are proud to continue to support Real Bedford as they bring together multiple pillars of crypto, combining community, accessibility, and innovation. So, record-breaking investment. And in 2021, as it says, McCormick acquired RBFC, which is based in the his UK hometown of Bedford, with a population of just under 200,000. So small town team. They're investing, as Cameron Winklevoss says, we're not investing in a football club. We're investing in a dream to bring Premier League football to Bedford. So trying to bring the little guys up. That would be a dream one day to invest in a basketball team. Like for me, maybe like a Big Three team or a G League team or somebody overseas. That would be dope. Just to be able to have ownership of a sport that you enjoy. So shout out to them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, I see what you're doing, Pierre McCormick. Hey, he making sure he got the base taken care of. He's like, look, I am going to come home a hero. That's
Yeah.
what's up. Let's see, 4.5. That's a great buy-in for a sports team. It's all up from there unless they suck, but they don't. That's what I'm saying. Like I
That's a
mean,
drop
that's
in the bucket.
solid. That's
Yeah.
solid. That's a good, yeah. Especially if the community's really into it as well. You're talking about Green Bay Packers. All you need is one good year, one good championship. Listen, Boston Celtics will tell you they've been living off it since the early 2000s. It's 2024, folks, okay? 2024.
They've been living off them championships back when it was plumbers. It was 8 teams, and Bill Russell couldn't eat dinner in the same
Oh,
restaurant.
man.
Bill
I'm
Russell had to
talking
get
about
his
even the
family.
most modern one with
Yeah, the last
them
one was
boys.
2008, and KG
Bruh,
and Paul
that was
Pierce
a
acting like
long. What were you doing in 2008?
we was in college. You know what we was doing in 2008. We
Oh,
was
that
just talking
is
about
true. Yeah.
2008.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
know it.
it's
I was yeah. You know what we was doing in 2008.
right. So yeah, that's a long time ago. Okay. Hype said I learned from one of our old shows that Gemini is one of the only crypto exchanges with insurance on your investment. Yes, even then, listen, I'll say this. If all went to hell, I'm not going to put it past the Winklevoss twins to secure their own bag. All right, like most companies, honestly. But I think that they will probably do the much as possible. They will do the most as possible to ensure people who have their Bitcoin specifically are not burned. I think they'll do their best last stand effort before they're like, all right, we got to ban the ship. Good luck, everybody. Like, but I think at that point it's like we're all going down. We don't have nothing, or we're left with bruises as well, and you are left with nothing. But if that isn't the case, I do think that they do a pretty good job. Now, with that being said, I'm still not keeping a ton of capital on there. I use it as a conduit, but yeah, they've done their thing for a while. So shout out to them. I mean, they've been forced into a lot of stuff, but also they brought it on themselves, trying to be all friendly and shit, trying to be all cool with everybody. Listen, and then what happened? They was like, "Oh, you man, you weak."
Hey,
Came
that's how
here.
they can afford them mansion parties in Miami. So
Yeah, true that. All right, last but not least, Samsung is in the news. Shout out to Samsung. That sounds like a tongue twister. Shout out to Samsung. Samsung secures $6.4 billion grant to expand Texas chip manufacturing is being reported. The South Korean manufacturing conglomerate also plans to invest up to $45 billion in expanding its Texas facility by the end of the decade. When I hear numbers like this and things like this, are they doing it by like, hey, we're building this building, we're going to add computers, and when you factor in the amount of construction costs, like basically what I'm saying is Texas going to see a large part of this money, or is this money from an international scale where like, yeah, these things are going to be getting shit from China, and yeah, we'll have international workers fly in to do this. I wonder,
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's not quite China, but it's Korea, and the funding is
True.
basically it comes from it's a government grant, 2022 Chips and Science Act, which aims to boost chip production for the automotive, aerospace, and defense industries. So they're going to support two production facilities, including a research center and packaging facility. So these chips will be used in pretty much everything that we use in the aerospace and different different sectors of the economy. But Bitcoin mining is definitely a huge part. Like we already know in Texas, that's a no brainer in Texas for them to do it. They have one of the most open mining areas, and a lot of companies are moving there as well. So Samsung, they want to expand the semiconductor manufacturing facility in Austin, Texas, and the grants will allow the U.S. to once again lead the world, not just in semiconductor design, which is where we do now lead, but in manufacturing, advanced packaging, and research and development. So they're trying to basically make America great again, bring the jobs back. We done. We done with the rest of the world. We done with the '90s.
know.
We we tired of shipping jobs overseas. I mean, that's one thing that a lot of CEOs have said, like, hey, in order to improve my bottom line, I got to have these jobs overseas because labor is the highest cost in any business. The thing is, if they took a pay cut or if they had a reduction in the amount of money they made, sure, your stock might tank, your board members might be mad, but long term, you would actually have a much better functioning society if 98% of people are employed and gainfully employed and they're working towards something. Because think about a lot of the economy now, it's gig economy. People are working just to make money. Nobody has interest in working towards making America better, so to say. Now think about your grandfathers when they were working in the steel mills and they were like, hey, every weapon you build, this is for the boys overseas. Every car you build, this is for Americans. All of that was inspirational to give you something to want to work for. So this may be something that does that. Especially, I mean, 6.4 billion. They're not playing around, and 45 billion total. So it
Yeah.
seems like they may be in South Korea. It's a shame. A South Korean company has to bring back or bring jobs to America. They're bringing them back
Well,
overseas.
well, that's what I was saying because I see I see where the misunderstanding was. I'm laughing at the comments too. But that's what I was saying about actually flying in Chinese. I'm like, is this them saying we're going to help do this to bolster American economy, or are we going to be an efficient multinational corporation and fly in whatever workers we find at the right price point, at the right skill level, whatever, and we're flying them in from the
Hey,
island over here, the
nah,
country
nah.
over here.
Hey, King, they ain't
Texas
flying.
ain't
No,
playing that.
they're not flying. No, no, no.
Texas
Listen.
not doing it.
No,
Okay,
no,
go ahead.
listen. They're not flying nobody. They just let in 5 million immigrants through the Texas border. Who
Oh,
you
that
think
is
gonna work
right.
them jobs, packing and shipping
Yeah.
for the free? Like, and a lot of them are the facial wise Korean or Southeast Asian looking or African, which they've already infiltrated in Africa. So yeah, that's who's gonna be working at these these
All
motherfuckers.
right. This has
They
been
ain't
a good
flying
show.
nobody in. They already
This,
got their workers. They just they just let them walk across the border.
all right. This has been a great show. We made it this far. There's a lot of bait out there. He didn't take it early on. All right. What else you got? Any announcements for today? This has been a good quick show. Any announcements for today?
No announcements for me. Just keeping up with the news, trying to make sure I move correctly in World War III and everything else. Not trying to
All right.
blackmail people, but yeah, it's all good.
All right, folks. See you all on Wednesday. Happening is happening this week. Expected for Thursday, Friday ish, of course, 420 event. More on that soon. Tomorrow and Wednesday as well. So other than that, we see you all Wednesday. Smash that like and share. What's going on, Reggie? Saw him pop up as well. Smash that like and share. And we will see you all Wednesday with some more news. Cheers.